You know, I had these chronic headaches. I keep going to all these different chiropractors. Nothing seems to change. Tell me, why should I go with you?
I don't know yet. I don't know if you should.
Why
come
should
with
I
me.
go with you?
We'll find out if we can accept you.
Why should I go with you?
Well, we are Synergy Integrated Health. You should go with our company because Dr. Lim is a doctor of advanced chiropractic specializing in neuropathy.
Tell me, why should I go with you?
I have over 30 years of experience and I get results.
Why should I go with you?
You'll tell me after we finish our conversation.
Okay, I want all you, and you to come up here with me on stage real quick. Come on up, let's go. Are you a chiropractor or a case manager?
I'm a chiropractor.
One of the smart guys. Okay. If I asked any of your competitors in your city the same question, and I said, why should I go with them, what do you think they might say?
Something very similar but without the confidence.
If I asked your competitors, any of them in your city, the same exact question, what do you think they would say?
They tell you what they do.
And if I asked your competitors the same exact question, what do you think they would say?
They would say that their business is the best because they get results and they specialize in whatever it is you are experiencing.
Okay, so what I think I just heard all of you say is that in your prospect's mind, you all sound the what? You all sound the same. Could that be a problem for you? Okay, all right, you guys can sit down. Lovely job. Well done. Now be ready because I've been known to bring you back up and a lot of other people. You might want to be on your toes today. Now, if I asked you to describe the word sales or selling in just one simple word. Now, if you're one of our clients, because I've seen several clients in here, zip it right now. But if I asked you to describe the word sales or selling in just one word, what would that word be? Tell me, what would that word be? If I asked you to describe the word sales or selling in one word, what would that word be? Service. Service, what else? Growth? Needs? What else? Persuasion? What else? Pushy? What else? Influence? What else? Scary? Could be trouble. Okay, what if we took everything all of you just said and we wrapped it into one word, and that word was this? Change. Change. All sales are, all selling is simply change. It's about how good you are at getting your prospects to view that in their mind, that by them changing their situation, that means purchasing, treatment plans from you, that by them doing that, that is far less risky for them than them doing nothing at all, staying in the status quo, their problems stay the same, and nothing ever changes. Which is more risky? Now, here's your biggest problem. Human beings don't like change. That's what I just said. All selling is change, yet human beings don't like change, even though we say we do. And why do we not like change? We especially do not like change when it's initiated by some pushy salesperson, case manager, chiropractor, that tries to push their solutions too early in the conversation. And repeatedly, human behavior shows that we value something that is more familiar to us, even if we don't like it that much, over something that is new, something that is foreign to us. Would I be right? I'll give you an example. Raise your hand if you know anybody, a friend, a relative, a neighbor, a business associate, somebody you work with that complains every single day about the relationship they're in. Raise your hand. Everybody has the person, right? Oh, they're this, they're that, they're this. And you always wonder what? Why they stay in the relationship. Well, why is that? Because they're human and they're afraid of Change. Oh, there's that word change again. See, that's what you're going up against to some degree with pretty much every potential customer you're ever going to talk to. Now, it's okay. How do we help your prospects overcome the fear of change? It's quite easy once you acquire the skill sets to do that. It's really, really hard if you don't. Now, how do we do that? How are we going to do that together? Here's where we're going to start. One thing that we all have to realize is this very simple notion, is that you're not selling the thing. What are you selling? You're selling the results of what that thing does. Now, for every potential customer you talk to, that could be different, right? For somebody, it could be you're selling them on what the treatment plan does, because it's going to save their foot from being amputated. That's what you're selling. You might be selling somebody else by allowing them to be able to walk so they can enjoy their grandkids growing up or golfing with their friends. You might be selling a treatment plan, the results of that gets rid of their chronic headaches so they can go back to work and provide for their family. See, that's what you're selling, the results of what the treatment plans do, not the treatment plans itself. Are you with me on that? All right, now, how do we do this together? Here's a question that we have to ask ourselves. How are each of you going to stand out in your prospect's mind? Because from what I heard up here, from what you were saying, we all sound the same to the prospect. And because we sound the same, what do? Commoditize you, right? Say it's too expensive. I need something cheaper. See where we're at? Okay, now why does that happen? How are you going to have a competitive advantage over everybody else in 2024, 2025, and for decades to come? How do you stand out? Every chiropractor services say what? Is anybody saying we're the 15th best in the city? No, we all say we're good, we can do it. We all say we can get it done. So in your prospect's mind, we all sound very similar. So how do we stand out in their mind? All of you are learning from this event and from the coaching programs with Dr. Gum and their team, systems, operations, marketing. You're all learning that. So what causes you to stand out in their mind? Simply this. It's right here. Write that down. The ones who will own this upcoming market are simply the ones who learn how to best communicate with their prospects. That simple. The ones who know what to say and ask that will cause their prospects to want to engage, to want to open up, instead of trying to get rid of you. So what gives you the competitive advantage? Today I'm going to show you 3 things. Number 1, here's what we're going to talk about. How do you become the trusted authority in your prospect's mind? How do they view you as the market leader, the expert who they will never go away from no matter what? Here we go. Number 1, we talked about earlier. We have to learn how to become a problem finder, problem solver, not a product pusher. Product pushers don't do that well. That's why they get commoditized on pricing. Number 2, asking the right questions, but at the right time, and especially with the right tone. Tonality? Jeremy, what are you talking about? That might be important to you. Anybody ever read a book that says 93% of communication is by your non-verbal, your body language, and your tonality? Anybody ever learned how to use your body language and tonality? Advanced learning? Nobody. How many years have all of you gone to sales and persuasion school? How many years did you go to chiropractic school? Oh, okay, could be a problem there. Now, there's some questions that we have to learn that require more of a curious tone. There's other questions we have to learn that require more of a confused tone. What does that mean, Jeremy? There's other questions you're going to have to learn that require more of a challenging tone. There's others that are going to require more of a concerned tone, a tone that shows more empathy. Are you 100% sure the questions you're using now are the right ones? Are you 100% sure that you know how to use your tonality to get your prospects to emotionally open up. And number 3, eliminating sales resistance so your prospects let their guard down. All right, I'm going to give you a little bit of my background, because my background relates to what is necessary if you want to take your business, if you own the practice or practices, or if you're case managers, salespeople, you want to take your sales to a level that most people don't believe they can get to. Now, I got started in sales 23 years ago as a broke, burned out college student. I got my first job selling home security systems door to door. Raise your hand if you ever sold door to door. Raise your hand. I've got to see who my people were. That's where I started. Now, you know what we went through, right? They give you the script. They give you a couple books by the sales gurus. They drive you out in a van. Am I right? You guys starting to remember this? They drive you out in a van, and they basically do this. They kick you out of the van, and they say, go make some sales. It'll be easy. We'll pick you up after dark. Everybody with door-to-door people, you know it. And I still remember being the last one blocked, dropped off in the block. I looked back at my sales manager in the van. His name was Exane Anderson. He had the surfer guys, the blonde hair, you know how they talk? And he's like, yo, Miner, remember, when you knock on the door, show them how excited you are. Show them your enthusiasm. Show them that you believe in the product, and they're going to believe in the product. I was like, that makes sense. If I believe in it, if I'm really excited, they're somehow going to be excited as well. What did I know? So I started knocking on the doors, and I started talking about my features and benefits, and I was really excited. And I said we were the number one in the market there, and we could do the best installs, and we had the best customer service and the highest quality of products and service, and we had the best owners, and we had a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. And suddenly, to my dismay, from the very first door, I started getting all these objections. What? They didn't tell me about that. We don't need it. We can't afford it. It's too expensive. We already talked with somebody from your company. I need to talk with my spouse. I need to do more research. I need to keep looking around. I need to think it over. Can you call me back in a week, a month, a year later? Raise your hand if you've ever got any of those objections. Only half the room. Some of you never get any objections. You guys are good. Now, after that's actually no picture of me, that's crazy. After about 7 to 8 weeks of nonstop rejection, barely making any sales. Now, when you're door to door, do they pay you a really high base salary? Oh no, straight commission, so everybody gets hired. So if you don't make sales, you don't make any moolah. Not good for you. So after about 7 to 8 weeks of all that, I remember standing on a curve one late Friday evening. You know the summers. Anybody been in those door-to-door summer programs? Just a few. You know, if you have, you know what I'm talking about. Just sweat dripping down your chest, your back, your legs just jello after like 13 hours of walking around the doors slammed in your face. Made 0 sales that day, so $0 an hour. And in fact, for the entire week, I'd worked like 65 hours and made 0 sales, so that means $0 an hour. And I remember feeling to myself, maybe selling just wasn't for me. Maybe I just wasn't a born salesperson like everybody else. Have you ever felt that way yourself? Have you ever looked at your bank account and you had more going out than you had coming in? That's where I was at. Now, when Exane, the surfer manager, picked me up that day, he popped in a Tony Robbins CD where he was talking about skill level that completely changed my viewpoint of what skills actually meant. Yes, 22 years ago, they used to listen to these round things called CDs. I know, it's kind of weird, isn't it, right? Now, Tony said something like this. Tony, forgive me if you're listening. I might be butchering this. This was a long time ago. He said this. He said, you will fail if you don't learn the right skills necessary to succeed. You will fail if you don't learn the right skills. Now, here's the kicker. He went on to say, everybody's taught skills. We're all taught skills when we get any job, right? But he said the people who don't do as well are the ones who are not taught the right ones. That there's skill level that can be taught by people who are far more successful that get you a high level of success compared to low skill level. Now for me, as a 21-year-old kid, 22 at that time, that was like a light bulb moment. That was like, I would say, divine intervention from the heavens that maybe, just maybe, what the company was training me, what I was learning from the sales gurus, maybe they just weren't the right skills anymore. Maybe they're just outdated, didn't work as well. So I was like, okay, I've got to do something. $0 an hour, probably not going to help that much. I have to learn how to do this. Because I know you, like me, want to provide a great life to your family. Is that why you're here today? You all came here because you want to do what? You want to improve your skill level. Now, here was my major dilemma, though, because I was using these traditional selling skills from the company and from the gurus. I would notice some of them would work. Let's get some pictures up there. I noticed some of those would work when I used them. Yowzers. But I noticed a lot of them didn't work very well at all. And I would use them, I would actually see my prospects, like the body language, like kind of tense up. You ever seen that? When you've used some of those techniques, you can tell that they're like, oh my gosh. And I would ask questions and they would give me vague, generalized, surface level answers. Raise your hand if you ask questions and you get vague, generalized, surface level answers and their feet are about to fall off. Why is that? And I'm like, what is causing that? What am I doing wrong? I would notice they would just stay surface level and just shut down all the time. Now, at the same time, I was in college. My major is behavioral science and human psychology, the study of the brain and how human beings make decisions. Would that be important if we're wanting to learn to persuade and influence our prospects if we know how their brain makes decisions? Why do they say no instead of yes? What's going on up there that triggers that reaction? Now, my professors, they were telling me that the most persuasive way to communicate was here. The gurus and all their programs, basically here. So we're talking exact opposite. So I'm like, what do I do here? How do I learn how to ask the right questions that would get my prospects to pull me in? Because I didn't like the pushy pressure. Who in here likes to push and pressure? No bueno, because when you do it, you feel what? You feel what when you do it? What do you feel? You feel kind of weird. What do you think the prospect's feeling if you feel that? It could be trouble, right? So how do I learn how to use my body language? How do I use my tone to get my prospects to let their guard down and actually want to open up to me and tell me what the real problems are? So I started learning these techniques that would work with human behavior. And I started to get my prospects to do all the work. I started to get my prospects to sell themselves. I started to get my prospects to overcome their own concerns. And I started to get them to learn how to get them to pull me in. And all of a sudden, selling became, very enjoyable, very easy, and exceptionally profitable. Now, why did I just tell you my story? Because none of you care about my story. Whose story do you care about? Your story, right? You're a human being. This is Human Behavior 101. I told you that because I want you to imagine me within 4 years of that, of like $0 per day. Within 4 years of that, I was making multiple 7 figures in commissions every year as a W-2 salesperson. 4 years before, I almost quit because I believed the lie that you're either a born salesperson or not. You see, I'm not anyone famous. In fact, I'm just like you. I'm a person who very early in their life realized if I wanted to have a great lifestyle for my future family, I was not going to I couldn't follow the status quo like everybody else. That if I was going to be in sales, I couldn't use the techniques everybody else was using because I would what? Get the same results. You see, unfortunately for me, I wasn't born out of my mother's womb with advanced questioning skills. Raise your hand if you're born with advanced questioning skills. Oh, nobody. I wasn't born out of my mother's womb with advanced tonality skills. Raise your hand if you were born with advanced tonality skills. Oh, nobody. See, I wasn't born with advanced objection handling and prevention skills. I had to acquire those skills. I had to learn those skills. So if a kid who grew up in the middle of Missouri on a cattle ranch outside of a town with less than 800 people can acquire those skills, what does it mean to you? It means you can do it too. Even if you're doing really well in your practice or as a case manager, once you acquire more skills, more advanced skills, you can do what? 2, 3, 5, 10. You can grow, you can write your own ticket anywhere in the world. Now, how are we going to do this? Because it's all talk until we what? It's all dreaming until we what? We learn the skills. See? You all dreamed about being a chiropractor until you what? Learned how to be a chiropractor. I can't believe it. This is crazy. Now, become a problem finder, problem solver, not a product pusher. Raise your hand if the prospects you talk to have problems and or emotional needs. Raise your hand. If I don't see every hand raised, I'm coming after you right now. I can see you back there. Everything ever invented solves a problem and or emotional need, right? Does a Ferrari, $500,000 Ferrari solve a problem? Not really, unless you're a race car driver, because you can drive from point A to point B with a 2005 Toyota, right? But what does it do? Solves a emotional need. Higher status. Maybe my dad told me I wouldn't amount to anything when I was a kid. I'm going to prove him wrong. Maybe I got picked on in school. Now I'm going to show everybody I'm successful. Everything solves a problem and or emotional need. Your services do both. That's why it's really easy to do once you learn this. Now, I want you to take the next 30 seconds, grab a pen and a piece of paper. I'm watching. And I want you to write down the 2 biggest problems that your prospects have. Write down the 2 biggest problems that your prospects have. I'm going to give you've got 27 seconds left. If I want to write these down, I'm going to come around and ask some of you, what are the 2 biggest problems and or emotional needs that your prospects have? 2 biggest problems. Got the countdown here. 2 biggest problems, what are they? 2 biggest problems. Somebody tell me, what's your 2 biggest problems? Just shout it out. Pain? Okay, more specific.
Unaware of the reality of their situation.
The biggest problem that you have is the problem you don't know you have. Well said. I like that. What else? Lack of what? Hope. Lack of hope. Emotional need, yes. They don't know what's wrong. They keep going. They can't figure it out, so they're always worried, right? What else? What?
Autonomy.
What?
Autonomy.
Yes, okay, good. Well, that's not a problem you solve. What do you solve? Like what the problems you solve? That's what I mean. Let me be more specific. What are the problems you solve? Go ahead.
I think a lot of our patients don't believe in.
Oh, you know what? Do we have a microphone? I do have a microphone. Okay. Yes. Here we go.
Patients don't.
Oh, can you
believe
hold
in-
that?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Patients don't believe in the process that they can actually be healed
Why?
because a lot of medical doctors tell them there's no cure for what we treat.
Okay, and it's your job to do what?
To change their mind. To
Okay,
let them
but
believe
if we
in
tell them
us.
that the doctors are wrong, they might do what?
Leave.
Not believe us. So we have to get them to reframe that way of thinking and come to that conclusion themselves.
Correct.
More persuasive. What's another problem and emotional need that we solve?
Fear.
Oh yes, we got. Thank you. Fear of what?
Fear of surgery in the future.
Okay, now, here's what I want you to do. Here's the exercise. Raise your hand. So look at the problems that you wrote down or that you have in your mind. Raise your hand if your solution solves those problems? Only 7 of you? Well, you're going to go out of business if you don't solve problems, right? If you can't solve problems, why do they need you, right? So everything solves a problem. Now, here's what I'm hearing you say in your mind. If your prospects have problems and or emotional needs, and your solution solves those, so my prospects have problems, my solution solves those, why are so many not buying from you? They have the problems. You can solve them. Why are they not buying from you? What's the missing link? Can I make a suggestion? Will you not get angry at me? You sure? It's not your prospects or your leads. Oh, my prospects, they're all broke. They just have a fear-based mindset. Well, no, S-H-I-T. Whose job is it to help them overcome that? That's why you get paid so much money, right? It's not that. It's not your mindset. It's not that you don't journal enough. It's not that you don't meditate enough. It's not that you don't take enough cold showers. How's that going to help you when the prospect says hello? I love that. It's not going to help you sell more. It's not that you don't read enough personal development. I love personal development.
Are these good?
Not going to help you sell more.
They're on the stands out there.
Not going to help you. It's not that you're not motivated enough. You're all here. You're, I'm assuming, motivated. And it's definitely not that you don't work hard enough. Raise your hand if you work hard. You all work hard. So if it's none of that, what is it?
Clicked on it and it didn't work.
Now, before I suggest what it could be, can I ask you a really, cheesy question that I already know the answer to? Raise your hand if you own the practice. Raise your hand if you want to triple your revenue in the next 12 months. Triple your revenue. It's harder to triple profit margin, but let's say double profit margin, triple revenue. Raise your hand. Now, if you're a case manager and you're the one selling, raise your hand if you want to triple sales in the next year. Okay, so we all know, yes, cheesy question, Jeremy, obviously. Now, keep your hand raised. Everybody raise your hands. Keep your hands raised if you can triple the hours you're working now. What, Jeremy? How am I going to triple my revenue and sales? How am I going to triple my sales? I mean, you already work 8 to 10 hours a day. You're going to work 24 plus? I don't think that's scientifically possible, right? So if you can't triple your hours, you're going to have to do what? You're going to have to learn more what? Advanced skills and sales ability than you currently possess. See, it's what you're saying. It's what you're not asking. It's how you don't know how to use your tone yet that is causing so many of your prospects to not purchase from you, even though their feet might fall off next week. Once you learn what to say, once you learn the right questions and how to get them to emotionally open up, not just tell you their physical pain is not going to close many deals for you. You're going to get the easy ones. How do we get them to open up emotionally? That's where the sale's made. Once you learn that, everything becomes possible. Now, who in here likes to read books? You don't. Some of you don't like to read books, and you're chiropractors. You read a lot of books in school, I'm assuming. I love to read books. Okay, my first sales seminar I ever went to was the end of summer of 2001 in Salt Lake City, Utah, close to where I was going to school with Brian Tracy. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of Brian Tracy. Been around forever. Great friend of mine now. Brian's great. Now, Brian said something there that completely changed my outlook. He said, use your vehicle as a university on wheels. And from that day forward, I just turned off the radio. If you know me, you're like, yeah, he's weird. He doesn't listen to the radio. He doesn't listen to Fox News, political shows, or CNN. He doesn't listen to Taylor Swift. What the hell's wrong with that guy? I can't believe he would waste his time on learning how to sell more. What an idiot. I can't believe it. And so from that day, I started reading or listening to 5 books a month, times 12 months a year, times the past 23 years on sales, persuasion, influence. If I did the math correctly, well, I am from Arkansas. Who's from Arkansas? Okay, I can't tell that joke. I'm not going to tell it. I'm from Arkansas, so I can joke about myself. But anyways, I think if I got the math right, it's 1,386 books or something. Who's counting? On sales, persuasion, influence. Now, in every single book you've ever read on sales, persuasion, influence, what are the 3 common things they say? Sales is a numbers game. ABCs of closing, and you have to be a problem solver. Those are pretty common, right? But if you look at what a problem solver means, if your potential customers don't buy from you, how the hell are you a problem solver? See, problem solving happens after they buy and after you're treating them when you solve their problems. Problem solving does not happen before. You want to get a lot more clients than you are, 2, 3, 5 times more clients than you are, and expand across the nation. We've got clients that are doing that every single day. You got to be much better at problem finding. You might want to write that down. Now, what does problem finding mean? It means this. Realize this, and I think all of you would know this. Most of your prospects, when you first start talking to them, don't even know what their real problems are. Raise your hand if I'd be right. Most of your prospects, when you talk to them, don't really understand what their real problems are. Or if they know they have a problem, they don't understand what? How bad that problem really is. Would I be right? Are they experts like you are? And they especially don't know what? What the consequences are if they don't do anything about solving the problems. Because if we can't get them to find problems in their mind that they didn't understand they have, they don't feel any urgency to what? Change. And if they don't feel any urgency to change, there is no sale. Do you see where we're going with this? All right, now, what are most salespeople, most case managers? Chiropractors, I love you guys, but everybody's in sales, right? We're trying to influence every day. Most people have been trained, unfortunately, to be what we call product pushers. We ask a few logical-based questions. Can you tell me what's your concerns that brought you in today, John? Oh, okay. How long have you had that going on? Oh, wow. What have you tried to do to treat it in the past? Oh, okay. Well, let me show you what we can do to solve that. And then we're shocked and amazed 30 minutes later when they say we want to think it over, when their nerves are about to be pinched off from the feet and they're going to lose their feet in like a couple months. You're like, how did that happen? Why? Why did that happen? They have problems. You can solve them. What happened? Because the questions we're asking are surface level and there's no emotion. And it's like taking a bucket of mud and throwing it up against the wall, hoping and praying that something we show them on slide 12 is going to magically trigger them to want to spend all this money with us. And I call that hopium. It's a drug that so many of you are still taking. That is a very hard and unpredictable way to scale your practice. Don't do drugs if you want to be in the top 1%. The hopium drug is not good for you. All right, let's go to step number 2. We got to start learning how to do this now. Step number 2, asking the right questions, but at the right time. Oh, and especially at the right tonality. Now let's go back to where I was at. Remember, I was at college studying behavioral science, human psychology, the study of the brain, how human beings make decisions. Why do they say no instead of saying yes when they have problems? What's triggering that? Did the prospect wake up that morning and plan when they walked into your office that within the first 3 minutes, because you sounded a little bit too excited and ending your sentences on a high note, that it triggered their fight or flight part of their brain to say, hey, can you just tell me how much it's going to cost and I can tell you if I'm interested? Did they plan that out? Or was it maybe something you were saying and how you use your tone that triggered their survival part of their brain to react that way? Oh, okay, we might learn something today. All right, now let's keep going here. How did they make decisions? How are they persuaded? Now, let's go back. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Love these clickers. Some of them are very, very touchy. Oh, geez, touchy one here. Now, here's what I'm going to have you do. Write this down. According to behavioral science, there are 3 forms of communication. I would write this down because once you understand the differences in where you are now compared to where you could be, even if you're already doing well, it will be a game changer for you. So the first mode of communication, it's called Era 1 type of selling. I'm not going to give the scientific term for it. I'd bore you to death. But if I said the words boiler room selling, what's the first image that comes to your brain? Boiler room selling. What's the first image that comes to your brain right now? What's the first image? What? Speak up. What? Like this? See, I already gave it away. This, remember the movie Wolf on Wall Street? Hey, I got a great opportunity for him. We talk about the features, the benefits, and we start to push and pressure and tell them why they should go with us and why we're the best. And anybody ever done that? But according to the data, the pesky data, we're the least persuasive when we sell that way. Hence, sales is a numbers game. It's a numbers game because of what? The way we're communicating is triggering it to be a numbers game, right? We never thought about that. When we tell people things, when we attempt to dominate them, when we attempt to posture them, when we attempt to manipulate them, when we push and pressure them, we are the least persuasive. It's just like, who's got teenagers that are like 13 to 18? You tell them you really, really need to do something, then you push and pressure, what do they do back? They push back. Oh my gosh. Now, second mode. Now, I'm going to show you a few of the least persuasive ways to sell. Presenting. We've all been taught amazing presentation. We've got to have the 45-minute to hour slide decks. We showed them the pictures of the corporate office because it looks really pretty with those cool windows. We showed them the pictures of the founders, They have the most integrity, right? You heard that one. Here's our AAA Customer Service Awards. Here's our AAA rating at the Better Business Bureau. We have the best this. We have the best that. I have the most years experience. Wah, 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 wah. That's what the prospect hears. Would I be possibly right there? How we have the best. How many salespeople do you know that try to sell you something, they're like, we're the 17th best in the nation. We're the 17th best in the market. No, nobody says that. Everybody says they're the best, right? So when we hear things like every other salesperson says, and especially if we talk down about our competitors, our prospects do what? Well, psychologically, they start to trust you less. Even if you are the most experienced, they don't have any trust or credibility to believe that because everybody says they are, right? Nobody says, I have the least experience in the city, right? So they're used to that. According to the data, if you're talking more than 10% of that sales process, you are losing sales you could be making. Now, here's your problem. The average salesperson in every industry, we train 161 different industries, including yours. The average person selling is presenting over half of the time. That is a big problem. Whole nother training on that. Let's go to another one. Telling your story, we talked about. Nobody cares about your story when you're selling one-to-one. Whose story do they care about? Their own story. What about putting sales pressure on them? Were you taught to do that? Or maybe you don't know you might be doing that? See, there's a massive difference between getting a prospect to feel so much internal tension from your questioning ability that seeds doubt that they might have more problems than they originally thought they had, compared to putting external sales pressure on them. Because that what? Wears off when they leave. You ever had a prospect that signed up for your stuff and then called back a day or two and said, what? Oh, I'm so sorry, but we just can't afford it. Oh, I'm so sorry, we're just not going to be able to do it. You're like, what? You have all these problems. What happened? External pressure, where it's your idea, not their idea. What about the big one? Oh, here's the big one. Some of you are going to get really angry with me at this one, I know. Assuming the sale. Especially if it's too early in the conversation before you've built a big enough gap. And it's exactly why some of the sales traders you've learned from say what? Sales is a what? Numbers game. Call more leads. Work more harder. Get thick skin. Get more no's that lead to the yes. Anybody ever heard that? Raise your hand. So basically what they just said is, well, unfortunately what I'm training you doesn't really work that well. So unfortunately for you, you're just going to have to work harder. Just work more hours. You can do it. Go get them. How selfish of them is that? How does that give you any competitive advantage? You're just going to work more hours? Good luck. I'd rather work less hours and have more skill, right? Let's keep going here. All right, second era of Sarah, consultative selling came out in the late 70s, early 80s. Books like Spin Selling, Sandler Institute, Spin Selling book, Neil Rackham, college professor, never sold anything, by the way. And they taught that you needed to ask logical-based questions or questions to find the needs of the client. We call those surface-level questions. What's the problem, though, when you only know how to ask logical-based surface-level questions? What answers are the prospects going to give you? Logical-based surface-level answers. Do human beings buy on emotion or logic? All of you have heard emotion. Every decision you make, I feel like getting a drink. I feel like sitting in this chair, starts with your emotional side of the brain. You cannot make decisions without your emotional side of the brain. You are a vegetable. If you're in a wreck and your emotional side of your brain is damaged, you can't go pee. You can't decide, I feel like going to the bathroom. Would I be right? Okay, so how do we get to open up? Now, when we ask these type of questions, we're still losing people because we're not bringing out their emotions, okay? And it's why I always say you can't just sell to the needs of the client. Why can I not just sell to the needs of the client? Because most of them don't know what they need when I first start talking to them. Oh my gosh, my chronic headaches hurt really bad. Oh, they do? Here you go. Take this. That's not going to help them that much, right? That's what they... Let me give you an example. I'll just tell you this. And this is for illustrative purposes. This is not going to happen to any of you. Okay? Law of attraction. Let's say you wake up tomorrow morning, you have a really bad migraine. You're like, oh my God, my head hurts so bad. I need some medication. I got to go to urgent care. I got to copay. It's going to be $100. That's my budget because that's what I think I need. I go to urgent care and the doctor, she starts to ask me some pointed questions about the pain and where I feel the pain and what the pain feels like and what the pain's doing to me and what the pain's preventing me from being able to do, and other questions. And all of a sudden, her questions start to get you to feel what? Shit, I might have a much bigger problem than I originally thought you had. That's what? Internal tension. She then says, you need to do a CAT scan. Nice hat, brother, I like that. Comes back, they have a tumor in your head. Terminal, got 2 weeks left to live. Now, she can solve that problem. It's a $2 million surgery. Your insurance covers 90%, leaving you with a $200,000 bill. Well, the hell with a $100 budget. You thought you only needed a budget for $100 because you didn't know what you needed. But now you know what you need, so you're going to do what? Go out and find the budget. That's why you never sell to just the needs. You sell to the real problems. Your questioning and tonality ability allow the prospect to find that they didn't understand they have. Let's go to the third mode, and then I'm going to show you some examples for your industry. Third mode. Now, let me show you. I see a lot of questions. Our sales trainers and I in the conference room, we see a lot of scripts. We train tons of practices, a lot of case managers in your space as well. So we see a lot of these surface level questions. Can I suggest that we not use these? No bueno. Hey, what's the major concern that brought you in here today? Most will say what? Oh, my head hurts. Physical pain, right? Oh, how long has that been going on? How long have you had it? What have you tried to do to help it? And then you do what? What do you do next? Jump in and tell them how you can solve it, because you're very smart, you're very educated. But what's the problem with that? Well, the problem is you're only getting the physical pain. You're not getting the what? The emotional pain. That's where the sale's made. If you're only getting the physical pain, you're only going to get the lay down easy sales where they're like limping. God, please. Like you're getting those, but you're not getting all the other ones that are kind of like, oh, it kind of really hurts, but if they don't do anything about it, it's going to get really bad. Those are the ones you're missing because of the emotional pain, okay? Now, how do we get them to open up emotionally? How do we do that? Here's how we do that. The third mode. Most persuasive when we get others to persuade themselves. According to behavioral science, how do we get others to persuade themselves? We do that when we ask what are called neuro-emotional persuasion questions. That stands for NEPQ. Now, a lot of you are saying, okay, Jeremy, this sounds really good, but how do I do it? That's a $1 trillion question. Raise your hand if you want to start learning how to do that. Are you going to be able to master this today at a seminar? You can't teach a kid how to ride a bike at a seminar, right? But we're going to start. So how do we do it? Okay. Now, when I'm talking about NPQ questions, I want to be very specific. I'm not referring to questions that are designed to get your prospects to say what you want them to say. Anybody heard of, if you get the prospect to say yes 7 times, there's 71% more chance of them buying? Anybody ever heard that? Did you know there's no evidence of that? Literally no scientific data that shows that. Zero zilch done. In fact, if you were our clients, we would train you several questions in certain contexts where we want them to ask questions that get them to say no, that trigger them to say yes. Ooh, let's see what that is, all right? So we're going to talk about that. Now, here are the stages of NEPQ. 5 stages. Seen some of our clients in here, you guys know this, okay? I don't have time to go through all these because they said they're throwing me off the stage in about 38 minutes. But who would like to see just a few examples of NEPQ questions for what you do? Okay, now for some of those that didn't raise their hand over there, you got to close your eyes and put the earmuffs on. You raise your hand back there. I saw you. Okay, so what are we going to do? Now, before I get into that, because this is all going to set this up, how do I get my prospects to view you at a higher status than someone trying to sell them something? What are salespeople or anybody trying to sell something, what are they in society viewed at large as? Lower status. Would we be right? Does Hollywood ever make any movies about the hero salespeople? No, they're always pushy, high pressure, because that's typically how society views us, right? How do we raise our status in their mind? Now, in behavioral science, this is called social dynamics. Now, should I show you some predictable questions that most of you are using now because your mother said you need to be polite to strangers, that are actually lowering your status in your prospect's mind every single day, and you don't even know it? Do you want me to show you a few of those? There's like a lot. There's, I'd say, a couple hundred, but I'm going to show you 2. Now, here's my concern. If I show you these, it's really going to mess on your mind when you start talking with prospects again on Monday. It's going to mess you up. You're going to be like, oh no, am I lowering their status? What's going on? So if I show you these, you can't get angry at me, because I'm going to show you to reword them where you raise your status, okay? Now, we have 2 choices. We can keep taking the blue pill. Oh, that blue pill is easy. We can take the easy pill. In fact, the easy pill is so freaking easy that it rarely works, but we don't have to do anything. We can take the hopium drug. Keep taking the hopium drug. I'm going to just get more leads. I'm going to get better at marketing. Somehow, one day, I'll learn how to do this. I'm young. I don't need to learn how to communicate now. I'll just do it in 5 years. So we can keep the blue pill. Sales is a numbers game. We're just going to have it a numbers game. Or we can take the red pill and actually master it. That's the skills game. Numbers game, skills game. Which path? What do you want to do? Skills game? Red pill? Okay, it's a good one. I like it. It's a lot funner. We get to help more people, because if we don't have more clients, we don't help people. Why did you become a chiropractor? To do what? Help people. But if we can't communicate, we can't help people. It's all aligned. Now, when you ask questions like this, oh boy, here we go. Oh, hey, welcome in. How you doing today? How's your day going, John? I'm so happy that you came in here to talk with us today. That weather out there is really bad. Did you see the game last night, the Cowboys? Oh, just disheartening. They got beat in the playoffs again. Yeah. Here's how most of your prospects interpret this, unless they're laid down. Unless you already have a relationship with them. If they don't know you, here's how most of your prospects interpret. This is exactly how you interpret it when salespeople that you don't know say, how are you doing today? Welcome into the dealership. How are you doing today? You do this. You say, I'm just trying to get you to like me so I can sell you my product, my service, my thing. That's how you interpret that. Because of why? Now, some of you are like, no, Jeremy, I really, really, genuinely care about each of my prospects' day. I'd be highly suspicious if you really do on every single prospect. You're not telling me the truth. But even if you do, your prospects don't believe you. Because why? Because every single salesperson that's ever tried to sell them anything is asking him what predictable questions? The same ones you're asking. So their brain associates with who automatically? Salespeople trying to sell me something, and the guard goes up. And you thought you were just being polite because Mama said, ask them how they're doing, okay? So we're going to show you differences. Now, I'm going to show you how to raise your status using your tonality with some of these questions. So when I'm doing this, I want you to pay attention. These are 5 tones that if you master them, and even if you use the same questions you're using now, just by mastering tonality, you could probably double what you're doing. And you could even change that. Now, you learn the right questions, and you're at the top, okay? Write this down. Your tone is how your prospect interprets the intention behind every question you ask. Your tone, your tonality is how your prospects interpret the intention behind the questions you're asking. We might want to learn that. What if I did this? Can you stand up for a second? I'm so disappointed in you. What did you just feel? What did you just feel?
I felt like I disappointed you.
But what else did you feel? I'm so disappointed in you.
Insecure.
Okay? And you might get a little defensive, right? Okay. What if I did this? I'm so disappointed in you.
I'd feel like I was in grade school and my mom was upset with me again.
Let me try it again. I'm so disappointed in you.
Like you probably care.
I'm still disappointed, but I care. Why? Because I use a concerned tone. And before, I'm so disappointed in you. My hands are out.
Defense.
You get defensive. I'm so disappointed in you. Look at my hand. So I can change human behavior by my body language and my tone, and I use the same exact words. Are you with me? Okay, let's start to learn how to do this. This is where the ball game begins. All right, NPQ connection questions. This is where you're going to learn how to take the focus off you immediately and get it onto your prospects and start to get them into results-based thinking over price or cost-based thinking. Now, let me give you a few different examples. There's a lot of other connection questions you'll have to learn. I'm just going to give you a few examples. Let's say, I know each of you have like different ways you guys do this, but let's say they booked an appointment, they've come in, and you're the case manager and you're sitting down with them. Could that happen with a lot of you? Okay. How am I going to get them, instead of like, hey, how's it going today? I'm so excited you're here. How do I do this? Okay, so let's say you got their file. Would you kind of know a little bit about them before they came in? Most of you do? Some of you? Okay. Okay, so it looks like you booked with this about looking at ways to, I guess, get rid of the numbness in your feet so you can feel comfortable walking again, right? Right. Now, what did I just do there? Okay, so it looks like you came in about looking at ways to get rid of some of the numbness in your feet to kind of walk again, right? What did I just do? If that's what their thing they put on the paper was, like they have numbness in their feet. Whatever it is, I'm repeating it back because of why. I'm associating them being there with what? The end result. What is the end result? Get rid of the numbness in the feet so they can walk again. What did I just do? I get them right at the top into what? Results-based thinking rather than price or cost-based thinking. See how I can start doing this from the very beginning. Now, let's say that then you go through your stuff, they come in, you're meeting with them, you're the chiropractor. I'm just going to give you an example. Okay, so hey, when you were out there talking with Mary, what was it that you guys kind of went over that caused you to, want to look into this further? Well, the reason why I'm here is because of, and what am I starting to do? What am I starting to do? Get them to tell me why they're here, but more importantly, who are they telling? Themselves. And this is where they start to persuade themselves that they want to change their situation. Now, there's more that you got to learn after this, but this is just the start. I'm going to give you a few more examples. Now, let's say I could do this. Okay, yeah, and John, let's say I'm the case manager. Yeah, and John, today might even be boring for you. It's really more for us to understand kind of what you've done in the past to treat the headaches and, the results you've gotten from that compared to, completely getting rid of them to kind of see what that gap looks like. What did I just do? Some of you didn't even know what I just did. Let me do it again. Okay. Why would I downplay them being there? Why would I be like, I'm so excited, this is going to be a great conversation. Why would I downplay it? Why would I Jeremy, what are you talking about? Why would I downplay it? What's my ultimate goal? What do I have to do to get the prospect to emotionally open up to me? Get them to what? Let their guard down. When you upplay in a sales situation, what does the average prospect do? Downplay. When I downplay, they upplay. This is mismatching, behavioral science 101, okay? I want to downplay so they upplay. I want to let their guard down. If I can't get them to let their guard down, there's no emotion. There's no sale. See what we're doing here, okay? Now watch what I do with my hands. Did you see what I do with my hands? Oh, all right. It's kind of, for us to really understand kind of, what you've done in the past. Let's say if they have headaches, I don't know, to treat your headaches and kind of the results you've been getting from that. Where's my hands? Results you've been getting from that? No. Results you've been getting from that compared to where you're wanting them to be as far as getting rid of the headaches? What did I just do? What did I just start creating in their brain? A gap. See how my body language influences their thoughts. Do you want to learn how to do this? This is basic, I'm showing you. The results you're getting from that compared to maybe where you're wanting them to be to get rid of the headaches, to kind of see what that gap looks like. And then towards the end of today, if you feel like, hey, this might be what you're looking for, we can talk about, possible next steps. Would that help you? No, it would not help me to talk about possible next steps. They're all going to say, yeah. Why would I use the word might be what you're looking for? We can talk about possible next steps. Why not be like, and towards the end here, if you feel like this is a good fit for you and we feel like you're a good fit for the program, we'll show you how to get started. Fair enough? Fair enough. Surface level. Why not assume? Do you know why? A types are going to do what? Well, I'm just still looking around. I didn't say that I'm ready to do anything yet. And what did you just trigger? Sales resistance. Now the guard's up. Oh, just shot yourself in the foot. But if I just put in the words, might be what you're looking for. See, this is the beginning. Towards the end, I can be more assumptive. I don't have trust or credibility in the first 3 minutes, right? If they don't know me, might be what you're looking for. We can talk about possible next steps. I neutralize, and I never get any resistance. The guard stays down. Would it be easier, just possibly easier to sell if the prospects just had their guard down every single time you talk to them? Probably, right? All right, let's keep going here. We're just starting here. Now, situation questions. How do we help them find out what their real situation is? Because if we can't help them find out their real situation, how do we build a gap to where they want to be if they don't know where the heck they're at now? That could be trouble, right? How do we do that? All right, let me give you some examples here. Now, my situation questions are all going to be different based off what? Why they're there, right? We're not going to ask cookie-cutter situation questions. If they're there for chronic headaches, we're not going to be asking about numbness in their hands or feet. Oh, maybe we are. We'll see. Okay, so I see here on the form that you had mentioned that you might be having some issues with, like, numbness in your feet. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What are those little periods? What do those dots do? See those little dots in between this? Like, Jeremy, that is not proper grammar. I never listen to anybody that does not do proper grammar. Spelling bee Nazis. Why would I have little periods there? It's an example of what's called verbal pausing. See, a lot of you, what if I ask these questions this fast? I see here on the form you mentioned you might be having some issues with numbness in your feet. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Yeah, I just have some numbness and stuff and just been noticing it for a while. See, you say the question so fast, they have no time to internalize what you're asking. That's why you get surface level answers, because you're not giving them time to think through what you just asked. But if I go, okay, so I see on the form, you had mentioned that you might be having some issues with, like, pain, I guess, like in your lower back. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? See, I'm verbal pacing the question out. What does that do? It causes the prospects to internalize and think deeper about what I'm asking. Now that does what? They start to what? Go below the surface. That's where our emotions are. See what we're starting to do here. And then I can keep going. Now, besides the lower back pain, what other symptoms are you having to deal with? What type of tone did I just use there? Concerned. Why? My tone is how the prospect interprets the intention behind the question. So besides the lower back, like what other symptoms are you having to deal with? Now Mary feels what? That I'm concerned for her pain. And if she feels that I'm concerned for her pain, not just trying to, besides the lower back, what other symptoms are you dealing with? Flat tone, monotone tone, nothing. Concern tone, now she feels what? That I care for her. And she starts to build what with me? Trust. Do you see what we're doing here? There's so much more to this. Okay, but how frequently are you getting the fatigue though? Oh, I'm getting it, blah, 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 blah. So let's say that they start telling me how long they've been doing this. Now, can I role play with one of you here real quick? We're going to run out of time. I'm going to run out of time. Okay, here we go. It's a touchy one here. Can we role play? You're really good at role play. Do we have a mic here? Right here in the front. Okay, are you a chiropractor, case manager?
No.
What are you?
I am a laser technician at the neuropathy clinic.
Would you know like all these answers?
Sure.
Who would? Okay, you.
Kyle.
Thank you. Case manager. Perfect, Kyle. Okay, Kyle, can you be a patient real quick? Now, I'm not like a chiropractor, so I'm not like really educated in all this, even though we train. Okay, could be trouble. Okay, so just roll with me, okay? Okay, so I see in the form here you mentioned you might be having some issues with like numbness in your feet. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, just over the last couple of years, actually, when it started, I just kind of was like, just kind of feels funny.
How do you mean feels funny?
Well, it was just different. Kind of like I'm walking on a wadded up sock all the time.
Different?
Yeah, just like I'm walking on somebody else's feet. Like they're not my feet.
How do you mean by that, just so I understand?
Well, so
Okay.
just like right now, I'm standing, it feels like there's a sock, but if I took my shoe off, there's nothing wrong.
Okay, and then how, besides the blah, 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 what other symptoms are you dealing with that?
Well, I can't shower with my eyes closed.
You can't what?
I can't shower with my eyes closed.
And what else?
Well, my golf game sucks, but
How often do you typically golf, though, like before the issue?
what's that?
How often were you golfing before the numbness?
3-4 times a week.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay, and how long have you stopped having to golf, though? How long ago?
Kind of started lying to my buddies about a year ago.
Oh, a year ago, that long?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been having to deal with the numbness in the feet for the past year. But I mean, besides the golf, because that's just fun, has that had a impact on you?
Yeah.
In what way?
Yeah. My German Shepherd suffers because I can't walk her as much.
Really?
Yeah.
What else?
Well,
When you say she suffers, what do you mean?
she's not getting exercise. No.
So nobody's walking her?
Nope.
Okay, let's just stop. Okay, so, good. What am I doing there? You're like, why is he talking about the dog? Why is he talking about the golf? Why doesn't he focus on the physical pain? What am I doing? What? I'm starting to find out what the pain is preventing him from being able to do. Okay, now that's just the start of it. Okay, let's keep going here. I'm going to show you some other things here because it gets more. Now, we're going to skip these probing questions. We're running out of time. Now, problem awareness questions. So now that there's other situation questions you have to ask, but now that we understand what the real situation is, and more importantly, they understand the real situation, how do we build a gap and help them find problems they didn't know they had? Because if you could only help them find one problem, are they likely to buy Whereas if I'm able to help them find 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other problems they didn't realize they had, who is more likely going to get that sale? Well, I will every time. Because even if they figure out like, well, I mean, this one problem's not that bad, but then you've got boom, boom, 2, 3, 4, 5 other problems in their mind. They're like, I have no choice. I have to change, okay? So how do we build the gap? I'm going to give you a few examples here. Look at this. So after I get in this, and it's all, my problem awareness questions are not going to be cookie cutter, right? It's going to be based off what they told me in my situation questions. So, I mean, you've been on XYZ medication for the last 12 months. I mean, what's caused you to feel like it's not going to get rid of repeat back the problem. Why would I do something like that if they're on medication? Why would I ever say that? You've been on XYZ medication the last 12 months. I mean, what's caused you to feel like that's not going to get rid of the numbness in the feet? Well, the reason why it's not going to get rid of the numbness in the feet is because of this, because of this, because of this. And what did I just eliminate from them? What did I just eliminate in their mind? That if they go back to that, they're never going to what? Be healed. Because sometimes you lose people and they say what? Well, I'll keep hoping that the medication's going to work. See how I prevented that objection from coming up later by how I worded the question? What about this? So, how do I pronounce that word? The G word? Dr. Gabba what? Yeah, so we have lots of clients in your space, and I interviewed a few of them, like, yeah, put the Gabba what? Oh, he knows. Nick, how the hell do you know? Gabapentin. See, you know. How was the number one salesperson in all 4 industries that I sold in my 17-year career? And I can tell you, I never even knew how most of the products or services worked. Because I wasn't selling that. I was selling the results of what the products and services did for them. And that's what I knew. I don't need to know all the technical features. Okay, let's keep going. So you've been on gabapentin with your doctor the last 2 years. I mean, what's caused you to feel like that's not going to get rid of the numbness? What do my tones sound like? Concerned. Well, the reason why it's not going to get rid of is, here's another one. So let's say they walked in and they've been seeing another chiropractor. What objection would I want to prevent? Them going back to the other chiropractor. Some of you lose people to other chiropractors, don't you? You want me to show you how to stop doing that? Obviously, it hasn't been working if they still have the problem. So, I mean, you've been using ABC Chiropractor the last 4 years. I mean, they're fairly decent. I mean, what's caused you to feel like you might want to look at someone else? What did I just do there? Why would I say, I mean, they're fairly decent? Why wouldn't I say, they're great? Why wouldn't I say, they suck? They're horrible. Because a lot of times they'll get defensive. Well, I mean, they're not bad. But if I say, I mean, they're fairly decent, what do my tone just seed? Doubt. See how I basically just told them that the other chiropractor sucks by my tonality, and they never get defensive. Do you see what I'm doing? It's all in my tone. I mean, they're fairly decent. I mean, what's caused you to feel like you might want to look at someone else? Well, I mean, I like Dr. Gabber, but I'm just having problems with this, and he doesn't seem like he's blah, 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 blah. And now I just prevented what? Them from ever going back. They're going to be here. This is easy stuff once you learn the right skills. Okay, here's another one I might ask. Now, I'm not going to ask this question. If I ask the other first one, I'm going to ask and probe and clarify. So, I mean, let's say they have been to another chiropractor. So are you 100% satisfied with the results you've been getting? So are you 100% satisfied with the results you've been getting? What tone did I just use? What? Kind of concerned / kind of skeptical. Why would I do that? Why would I use that tone? What is that seed in their mind? Doubt. Why would I use 100%? Why not say, are you satisfied with the results you've been getting? Why would I use 100%? Do you know why? Because no one likes anything 100%. Think about the dream car. What's your dream car that you bought? Your best car you've bought. You're like, I love this car. Can you speak up?
Chevy Camaro. I don't know.
Yeah, you loved that car the first day. You're down the road, you found stuff you didn't like. Think about the person you're dating or married to or whatever. The first couple months were bliss. They are perfect angels of God. And within 6 months, you're like, God, there's some things I don't like. See, if I don't put 100% in there, that backfires. No one ever say, yes, I'm 100% satisfied with the results. That's why I walked in here. They're like, here's what they do. Here's what they do. They'll do this. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say 100%. Not 100%? What don't you like? Not 100%? They'll always say, well, I mean, I wouldn't say 100%. Not 100%? See what I'm doing? I'm shifting their thought process. Okay, let's keep going here. All right, solution awareness questions. How do we get them to see what the future looks like once the newfound problems are solved? Okay? There's a lot of other questions. My concern is you're going to take 6 questions I gave you and come back like, Jeremy, I didn't triple my revenue this year. Well, yeah, I just gave you a few nibbles here. I don't have time. They're kicking me off the stage. And, well, it says 11 minutes, but I bet they let me go 15. Okay, so here we go. How would it be different, though? Like you being able to get rid of the chronic headaches. I mean, how would your life be, I don't know, like maybe different than it is now, though? Why would I slow that question down? How does it sound when I do this? How would it be different, though? You being able to get rid of the headaches, how would your life be maybe different than it is now, John? Oh, I don't know. It'd probably be good. Too fast. Surface level answer. How would it be different, though? I mean, you being able to get rid of like the headaches, like how would your life be, I don't know, like how would your life be maybe different than it is now? What did I just cause them to do? Think deeper about the question. I'm getting them to internalize. That's where the emotional side is. You learn how to do this. Physical pain has only gotten you here. Emotional pain gets you here. I can assure you of this. Let's keep going here. Now, then when they say, they're like, oh, it would be good. I'd be able to golf. I'd be able to walk my German Shepherd. I'd be able to do this. Can I ask a favor? I'm out of water. Can I get half hot water here and like half lukewarm water? Thank you. Okay, now, then I'm going to say, okay, but they're going to say, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. Okay, but what would it do for you personally, though? Logical-based question first. They're going to tell me logical answer. I'd walk the dog. That's my girlfriend. Give her a round of applause. Thank you. I'd walk the dog. So when I ask a logical-based question, they're going to give me logical answers. I'd golf more. I'd walk my dog. I'd do this. But that's still what? Logical things on how their life would be different. But then I'm going to lean in and I'm going to be like, okay, but being able to do those things, what would it do for you personally? Oh my gosh, it would relieve so much stress. Stress? Oh, you have no idea the stress this is causing me. Done. I don't need to do anything else. Because they've told themselves what? What the future looks like once they can do everything they've ever wanted and all the stress and pain are gone. But if I can't get them to open up emotionally, I get what at the end? Sounds really good. I just need some time to think about it. What? Your hand's about to fall off, dude. You want to think it over? See? Okay, let's keep going here. Now, let's keep going. How would you respond to this? Anybody ever get this? Anybody ever get an email or a call and they're like, we really liked you and what you had to say, but we just decided now's not a good time. We need to wait for the treatment. We'll get back to you when we're ready. Keep in touch. Raise your hand if you've ever heard something like that. You're like, what? You chronic headaches, you can't even go to work. What are you talking about? How would you respond? Would you throw out a rebuttal? Tell them why they're wrong? How often does that work? 1 out of 50. So you keep doing it, right? It's like golf. You get one good swing out of 100, so you keep going to golf because you think it works, right? But that's the numbers game approach. What if we played the skills game? What if I could get it to work 9 out of 10 times? And I said this by using an NPQ consequence question. I call him back, I'm like, hey, Mary, I got your email. That's not a problem. You can always come back later. Can I ask you something, though? Sure, yeah, what's going on? How can I communicate to you that you might be making a mistake without you getting upset with me? Sure, yeah, what do you have in mind? What did I just do there? No one will ever say, no, I'm upset with you that you said I might be making a mistake. Can I ask you something? Sure, go ahead. How can I communicate to you that you might be making a mistake without you getting upset with me? Sure, yeah, what do you mean? Then I'm going to loop back around and I'm going to ask a consequence question because, Mary, from what you told me, what happens if you don't do anything about this now? Your nerves get pinched off and they have to amputate. Well, I never really thought about that. Do you want to have to go through all that and all the complications that come after that if you didn't have to? Well, no, if I didn't have to, but I just don't know if it's just expensive. Well, in reality, which is more expensive? Is it more expensive for you to get the funds together and we take you through the treatment and your feet get saved? And you're able to walk around and spend time with your grandkids the next 30 years? Or is it more expensive if you don't do anything right now and your nerves get pinched and they amputate and you're in a wheelchair the rest of your life? In reality, which is more expensive? What tone did I just use? And how does she interpret why I asked that question? Does she interpret that I'm just trying to make a sale and make money? Or does she interpret that I'm genuinely concerned about the major implications and consequences of what happens if she doesn't do anything? And if she feels that I am concerned and genuine, and I've built that gap, that trust in the pain of the emotions, what do you think is going to happen 9 times out of 10? She's going to get in the treatment plan. And you then become a problem solver, and you change this woman's life forever. However, on the flip side, if you don't learn this, and she says no, her life goes in a different direction. And who's responsible for that? We are. This is why communication is the most important thing you can learn if you really want to solve your people's problems. Because if I can't communicate to them, they don't buy, and I can't help them. Is that why you got into what you're doing now? Okay, now we've got a few minutes left. Now, anybody want more questions like that? I don't have a lot more time. They are going to yell at me. I've only got 4 minutes, which really means 9 in my mind. I know, I get thrown off every stage. I'm going to give you a QR code. I'm going to give you what's called the NEPQ Black Book of Questions. This is our updated version. We're releasing it in 3 days. It's 161 pages. The old one was 58. Give a lot of different industry-specific examples. I think some of them for you guys as well. I'm going to give you the QR code. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, you have to take a picture of me because this is the only way I can get this to you. When you join this group, this is one of our free Facebook groups, Sales Revolution. There's like 110,000 some people there, maybe more now, I'm not sure. When you get in there, you need to message a picture of me. Take a picture of me now. This is your code word. If you don't have this picture, you will not get the book. I'm going to give it to you for free. I told Dr. Gubb and his team I would. You got to take a picture of me. If you don't have the picture, that is your passcode. You're like, I saw Jeremy, this weird guy with the 2 parts on his hair, I don't know why he does that, on stage, and I want the black book. You message me in there. Somebody on my team will message you back. It won't be me. I have like 20,000 messages a day. Somebody on my team will message that. We'll give it to you for free. That help you? Start. Okay, now I've got a few more things. Step 3. Oh my God, Jeremy. Step 3, I've got 5 minutes. How do we eliminate sales resistance where the prospects let their guard down? This is the most important thing you can ever learn in your life. It's about neutralizing the hidden pressure that you're having in your conversations that you don't even know with pretty much every prospect you're talking to. Anybody ever heard of this? Anybody ever watched this movie? Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers, right? ABCs of closing, that's what average salespeople do. You don't want to be average. Selling is not adversarial. It's not you against the prospect trying to win them over so you make money. That will only get you this far. You want to be at the top? Selling's collaborative. You working with the prospects to help them find and solve problems they didn't realize they had. Now, we're going to teach you, start here in the next 4 minutes, the ABDs of selling. That stands for always be disarming. No more always be closing. Now, do I mean that when that patient's there, I get to the end and be like, well, I guess email me back if you're interested. That ain't going to help you, okay? We have to learn how to get them to commit to take the next step to solve their problems by purchasing what you're offering, but we have to disarm them. Now, how do we do that? You ever get this objection? Can you just tell me how much it's going to cost and I'll tell you if I'm interested? Anybody ever get that? Raise your hand. Ooh. What do you feel like you said or didn't ask? Or how you use your tone that triggered them to say that to you? Bet you've never thought about that. Now, we have 3 choices when we get this objection. We can do this. We can do this. Tell them the rate without building a gap. It's going to be this. When you do that, in the first 3 minutes, how many of them are like, wow, that's great. 15,000? I'm in. What do they say? Oh, that's just a lot of money. I'm not sure. Boom, gone. Done. That probably is not a good strategy. Second strategy, sweep it under the rug, hope and pray they don't bring it up, I'm going to ignore it. Oh, yeah, we'll go through that later. Now, let me ask you. And then what do they do 2 or 3 minutes after that? Hey, just tell me. And they get irritated because you just lost what? Trust. Because they know you're hiding it. Don't do that, it's not good. Or we can do this. Answer it indirectly where it makes sense while we're asking. I didn't mean to make that bad face at you. I think I made a bad face. It was not meant to you. That was meant to me. Oh, I don't want to offend you. Okay, I saw that. I'm like, that was a really bad face I made there. What was going on? Okay. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're just going to agree with them. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll go through all that for sure. I mean, it's really all going to depend on like the results of your thermal picture. You know, that's going to show us the kind of blood flow you're getting into your foot, the results of your neuropathy test, and really, what your x-rays look like as far as like, structural changes, like any disc damage. And once I can see all that and understand all those details, I can go through all the different options we have for our clients. Would that help you if I did that for you? No, it would not help me. Yeah, sure. And now it makes sense why I'm what? Asking the questions. Does it depend on all those things if that's their issue? How can you tell them the price when you don't even know what? See what I'm doing there, okay? See how easy I just got them to do what? Let their guard down. If I can't let their guard down, they stay surface level. I get tons of objections. Most of the time, I lose the sale. If I can let their guard down, I don't lose the sale. Okay, how about another one? Anybody ever get this objection? Sounds really good. This is the last one. Actually, I'm out of time. Should I get off the stage before I show you how to overcome this one? Oh, cliffhanger. Oh, right. It's like the episodes of like, you guys watched 24 when it first came out, like the Lost and everything. You get to the end, you're like, I gotta go to bed. It's 3:48 Monday night. Okay, I'm gonna watch one more. I always save this one for last. I mean, nobody wants to kick me off here. Oh, it sounds really good, but I just need to think it over. Now, I want to think it over an objection? Is it? Do they leave your office and go home and they're like, I really need to think this through. Let's see. Let me get the Excel spreadsheet out, and I'm going to type in, like, if I had these chronic headaches for 1 month, 3 months, my disability payments, like, I need to really think this over. When you tell a salesperson you want to think it over, do you go back home and think through it really seriously for the next 3 to 6 weeks? No. You just had a concern and you didn't want to tell them, so you wanted to make them feel good, right? That's what they're doing to you. So what's my job to do here? I have to find out what the real concern is. How do I do that? By getting them to let their guard down and tell me. Ooh, you guys are good. You're good. This is fun. So I'm going to do this. Oh, yeah, not a problem. What's your time frame on getting back to me in the next day or two just to see if I'll be available for you? Jeremy, what are you doing? You're not trying to overcome the concern? Oh, I am. But how can I get them to let their guard down? If they think it's over and we're setting up another appointment, what starts happening to the guard? It starts to come down because we're about to leave. He or she's about to leave the office, right? Oh yeah, not a problem. What's your time frame on getting back to me in the next day or two to see if I'd be available for you? Why would I say just to see if I'd be available for you? What does that do? Does that raise my status that maybe I'm busy? I've got lots of clients. See, I'm raising my status by how I'm positioning it. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I could call you back next week. I'm not sure. Waffle. Don't let them do that, because they don't what? They don't call you back in a week, do they? Surprise, surprise. Well, possibly. I'm not sure if I'd randomly be available like that with my client's schedule. What I can do, if you have your calendar handy, I can pull up mine and have you book a specific time with me. That way you don't have to chase me down and vice versa. Would that help you? What did I just do with my status? That way you don't have to chase me down. See, who has the problems? I don't have the problems. The prospect has the problems. Why are you qualifying to the prospect when they're the ones that have the problems? You're the one that can what? Solve the problems. So you're going to start learning how to get the prospects to qualify to you, because you're the one that solves the problems, right? Okay, let's say we book a time. They're coming back on. We're going to talk on the phone on Tuesday. Not so fast, because I need to find out what their concern is. Now, hey, before you go, what were you wanting to go over in your mind, just so I know what questions you'll have when we talk on Tuesday? Well, it's just a big decision, and I'm just not sure we have the money for it. What did I just find out? It's a money concern. And, I'm right there in front of them. Now I know the concern, so what can I do now? Help them overcome the money concern and get them into the treatment program. Instead of saying, what do you need to think about? They get, I have to think about big decisions. Defensive. Yeah, what was it that you were wanting to go over in your mind, just so I know what questions we'll have when we talk again? Well, I just don't know if this is the right treatment plan because my doctor says that this doesn't work. See, that's the real concern. Because if you couldn't help them tell you what the real concern is, were they going to show up a couple of days later? Were they going to answer the phone? Hell no, you don't. You see what we're doing there? See, we're learning how to humanize the conversation here. All right. Thank you for being up here. We went over the 3 steps to becoming the trusted authority in your prospect's mind. Becoming a problem finder, not a product pusher, no bueno. Asking the right questions at the right time. Eliminating sales resistance. Now, here's a book I brought. Now, unfortunately, how many are in here? 900? We only were able to get our publisher to ship like 150 to 200 books. But I told Dr. Gum I would give you guys our best-selling book, Wall Street Journal bestseller, Barnes & Noble bestseller book for free. So we've got some books back there. Look, I got some guys here, got the orange books. Now, if you guys want a book, I'm going to give it to you for free, okay? If we run out, you'll have to get the QR code here to buy it from Barnes & Noble. Let us know if you need like a GoFundMe page for the $17 to learn how to sell more. We'll talk about that. And then we'll give you a free book. I'll even sign it for you, as many as I can, as long as you take a picture of us doing it and you tag me on Instagram. Now, as we close up, one last thing before they boot me off the stage. Is training something you did? Or is training something you do? As a chiropractor, is training something you did in the past, or is it something you do? It's something you do if you want to be at the top, right? Now, in sales, in communication, is training something you did, or is training something you do daily? It's something you do daily if you want to grow your practice very, very quickly. Thanks for allowing us to be here. I'll talk to you guys here at the end when I sign the books and everything. Love you guys. We'll even help you. We have tons of clients that crush it in your space. You have questions about scripting, and I don't know if this question works. Just ask me and our team. We will help you for that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jeremy Marner!
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.